President Biden on Friday vowed that his administration would never seize the phone records of journalists after it was disclosed that the Trump administration secretly obtained the records of CNN and Washington Post reporters. Biden, following a press conference with South Korean President Moon Jae-in, told reporters at the White House it was absolutely positively wrong to seize reporters' communications. I won't let that happen, he said during a brief Q&A with journalists after the official press conference ended. CNN reported Thursday that the Department of Justice informed its Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr that prosecutors obtained emails and phone records from 2 months in 2017, including from her personal and work correspondence. The CNN report followed a Washington Post article saying the DOJ under former President Trump secretly obtained phone records for three of its journalists, reportedly in an effort to uncover sources for a story in 2017 on the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. The reports drew condemnation from press freedom advocates, and reporters have in recent days asked the Biden administration whether it would rule out a similar practice. The president is committed strongly to the rights of the freedom of the press, as you have seen for decades, and to standing up for the rights of journalists, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters earlier Friday. And the Justice Department conveyed yesterday that they intend to meet with reporters to hear their concerns about recent notices, and they certainly intend to use the Holder model as their model, not the model of the last several years. Man, she really slipped up when she said the Holder model. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Holder was the Attorney General under Obama for most of his tenure, and then toward the end he was replaced by Loretta Lynch. Two parts of this we need to go back to. So the article's main headline is Biden vowing that his administration will never seize journalist phone records. And when his press secretary, who I feel bad for because she is just, the mouthpiece that regurgitates the rest of the president's BS, just like every other press secretary, this president is committed strongly to the rights of the freedom of the press, as you have seen for decades, and to standing up for the rights of journalists. Now, when she says, as you have seen for decades, I don't know if she's talking about Biden's record. I really hope she's not, because if we go back to the administration that he was vice president under, we can remember or recall the fact that with the Espionage Act, President Obama set a record for any president with his number of prosecutions of journalists. And some observers have stated his crackdowns on leaks paved the way for Trump to do the same. And this happened with 10 people during his administration. So he went after journalists 10 times using the Espionage Act. And this is what I said about how Trump would do things that Obama did, and then people would express outrage, but when it was going on under Obama, nobody cared. And I have a feeling it's going to go back to the same way, where if Biden actually does prosecute journalists, and to my knowledge he hasn't so far, you're going to see people go, well, that person shouldn't have been leaking private information. I even had a video about over a year ago where Harris was talking about the whistleblower. This was during the impeachment, either the trial, the first one, or the inquiry. But she was like, we need to protect whistleblowers. And I was just so disgusted with her, because when she was California's Attorney General, which was a pretty prominent position, you're Attorney General of the largest state, that's when the stuff with Snowden happened under Obama, and she didn't say a single goddamn word. So there is a very strict partisanship that these people have, where if it's under their guy, they're silent about, journalists are people who are spreading, whistleblowers, information that is conducive to the public needing to know about it because of how egregious it is. And then if it's a president of the opposing party, now they're freedom of the press advocates, and they're so concerned about these rights that they have to expressing what wrongs are going on, the rights of journalists. It's a joke. So I just felt like pointing that out, because a lot of people do not know about all of the screwed up stuff Obama did. And I think unfortunately, for as long as I live, majority of people will never know because um, these schools are not teaching people about this stuff. And, a lot of times information is just skimmed over to such an extent that even an important thing like that, such as cracking down on journalists and paving the way for lunatics like Trump and his future president, vice president, to potentially do it in the latter case. That I think something like that's important, but it doesn't get discussed enough, unfortunately.